So my name is Talon, my last name's Free, and so I've been living in a van for a little over 2 years now. I started with a ProMaster City, which is a very small van. When I was lying in bed behind the passenger seat, my head would touch the seat, back of the seat, my feet would be about 2 inches from the door. And so I chose to be in that one for 2 years, and so I figured after 2 years, okay, I got the program down, and I liked the way it worked out. So I decided to keep on going. So I traded in my small van and got a bigger van. So I'm a little bit on the creative side, but then I try to balance it out with the science side. But I'm not a carpenter. I'm not a very seasoned builder. So I chose to go a rustic look because that's about my skill level. So at ProMaster, they had the square walls, better for building by a long shot, and they're slightly wider too. Yeah. But the roof was just a little bit lower for me. I hadn't tried out the Transit, so I decided to give them a whirl and take them for a ride, and it worked out really nice. I liked the height; it was extra height for me. And then I was able to find one, and then the price was in my budget, so I went for that. I've had apartments before, and it was always coming down to it's a lot of money going out that you never see again. So it made more sense for my lifestyle for now to think a little bit more minimally, to cut down on clutter in my mind and be a little more mobile. So that's why I went that way, because I have more stuff to do. So here we are at Kits Beach. Here's the big reveal, but it's still under construction. So let's go to the kitchen first. So here we have the kitchen top, which leads into the sink. So this is going to be where the cooking is going to take place. I still haven't chose a burner for it, a system yet. I'm trying to decide whether I want a fixed one or a portable one. But for the sink, I'd watched a few different van dwellers talk about how important the size of the sink was. And one of the common things that I heard was, if it's too small, you can't wash anything in. It's half out and it's dripping, and I'm still kind of working out how I want to do all of this, so I'm going to go low budget right now. I can always change things down the road if I ever want to, and that was a big part of how I built everything too. And so I made a space back here where I can put in the tap, or maybe it'll come from this side. I still have to figure out. Maybe I didn't leave enough room there. We'll find out. So part of my design for the cabinets here is I'm going to have a couple of lights hanging down, so when you turn the light switch on, you get some light over top of this area. Hence the wires. I'm also going to have an outlet in the middle up here so I can plug in a blender. So I've got power source right there. So that's really the most complicated part of the whole build, is where to put the wires for me. I wired it in before I did the ceiling. I insulated the walls first. I put 22 R insulation in the walls. I used rock wool for soundproofing. And then on the ceiling, I put 16 up top because there was not as much room to work with because of the thickness of the ribs, and putting in the cedar up top as well. So this is all varnished as well. This is 1x2s. If I was to redo it, I'd put 1x4s up there, maybe at least 1x4s. When you're doing tongue and groove, start from dead center. Okay, the reason is this is the straightest line in the whole van. Everything else is curved. Like this probably took me around probably eight hours by myself. If I had somebody with me, probably would have took me 4 hours. And then I get my hand down there and get the drill up and drill, and then hold this in position. It was totally funny, but not funny at the same time. But I was so happy when I got it done. I was like, whew, what a relief. It felt so good, and I was really happy about it too. So when I got to here, you can see this line here, that matches this one over here. And that one matches this one over here. So that helped me get my cabinets lined up, was this groove all along here. That's the only thing that I could go off. Everything else is uneven in some way, except for the floor. I was able to use the floor as well too, because these are straight too from the factory, straight lines. So when you put them in square, you know it's going to be square all the way to the end. Even if you have to cut and make weird, strange things, that line will be straight. I did the walls first, the ceiling second, and the floor last. I chose to go the other way to do the floor last because when you do the walls, you can put them up to the top as hard as you want and down as far as you want. So for me, I thought it was, it just made more sense to do the floor last. Styrofoam off gases, it's lighter, it's good against noise, it's good for R value, etc. But because you're in a vehicle that moves and it sticks to the steel and to the inside of the wood, if there's torque, which there's going to be, there's a good chance that you're going to break it. And if it does, now you got a piece. And if that piece breaks off and starts rattling, it's going to drive you nuts. And over time, you're going to have dust. Now you've got a toxic dust that you could end up breathing, perhaps. So I decided not to go that, even though it's a lighter way to go as far as weight goes. You know, research and think what they want to do, because you got formaldehyde and that stuff, and if you don't want to have to breathe it, don't, you know. Here's a blackout curtain, a simple one I just got at Walmart. Cost, I don't know, like $12 or something. The temperature difference between the front and the back is huge. Some people use this as insulation to keep heat out or to keep heat in the winter. Don't underestimate the power of the curtain. It gives you privacy, it gives you warmth, it gives you coolness. You see this guy hanging here? This is my chair. Goes up like this here. So it's actually pretty versatile, and I actually have two holes at the back where I can open the doors if I was sitting by a lake, and I can hang it up at the back as well and just chill in the chair. So the bed's down right now, as you can tell. So when I'm sitting in this, if the bed wasn't down, then I could just stretch right out that way as far as I want it to go. And it's easy to stow out of the way if I don't want it. Just move it off to the side. I put some hooks in the ceiling. So there's ribs across the roof, and I ran bolts through it, put Loctite on it, and made it as tight as possible. Hopefully never come undone, because if it comes undone, there's no way to get it out without pulling some of the ceiling apart. So I thought this would be a good option for if I have somebody visiting, because the back end of the bed lifts up and it becomes like a sofa. A couple people could sit up here, somebody could sit on this. I'm gonna have another bench down here, so I could have 3 or 4 people in here comfortably. Okay, because of my height, I'm 6'2", and the mattress is 8 inches deep, so it's a pretty thick mattress. A lot of people have a 4-incher or a 6-incher. There's a space here at the end, so when the bed comes up, it goes onto that space. So what I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna have some mattresses go in here, or some foam through here, but it's gonna be 2 sections. When it's not being used here, I'll put it down here for I'm gonna have a small little chair set up with cushions on it. So those cushions will be up here at night. I went with the Murphy bed idea for 2 ways. I wanted to have a little bit of flexibility with it. The idea of being able to come in and out of the back was important to me, have that ability. So, and I made it high enough that I could put a bicycle underneath, which is also part of the plan. Lifting it up is the easiest way. Just go up like that. Right now I don't have it secure yet. It holds itself, actually. I don't need to, but I will put a lock up here that holds it. So when I travel, I'll leave it down, and then that way the load is more balanced, because I'll have water on one side and batteries on the other side, and so that will kind of straddle and keep it all tight. Well, yeah, so the fan is a max air fan, so here's the power for it here. I chose to go with that one there because it does come with a remote, and I didn't know if I would or wouldn't be needing one, but I thought I'll go for it anyhow. The shower, which is basically, it's a wash tub, so that you cut off the top 6-7 inches of this, and then underneath you've got this bottom pan. And why that's important is because of the drain. It comes with a made drain hole. So I have an elbow that hooks onto this, and a pipe that goes out. That'll attach to a flexible hose. So when that is on 2x4s and it slides underneath here, when I want to use it, I pull it out, and then I have a foot pump for right now. So I'll heat up the water. The hardest part is warming up the water. Fill it up in the sprayer, pump it up, and now it's pressurized. And once this cabinet is set up and the one on this side, I'll be able to hook it up to these sides here, so I don't have hooks in the middle of the room. I have it just out to the sides, where I can just lift it up and hook in the shower curtain, and then there it is, and then it goes away. And as you shower, the water goes through the drain at the bottom, and then it'll go to a hole in the floor and drain onto the road. So I've used that for over a year now. I've used that pressurized pump thing. Works amazing. It's amazing how much water you don't actually need to get clean. It's pretty good. If you're standing in the shower, it's running the whole time. You're probably using 4 times that amount of water, which you don't really need to do. You start to become much more economical with all of your stuff. You don't use as much water to wash with. You don't even wash as much either. You wash your hands and stuff like that in your face, but bodily, if you go to the gym every day, yeah, you're gonna shower every day. But if you go every second day, that's when you'll do it. The bathroom is, you can go to a gym, you can go to different places like that. There's lots of places to use a restroom. But I would still say have a 5-gallon bucket as an emergency with some plastic bags in it that you can always use if you need to. Or you can have a portable one. Some people do have, I think it's called Nature's Head. And down here I'll have a little flip-up table, not too deep, so that I can have a bench along here that'll also flip up. The storage that I'll have in the middle here, I'm gonna have some trunks that are movable. And I can tie them down and hook them with more D-rings and strap them into position for traveling. But if I need to move them somewhere, I can move them to one end or one side, however I want to, so I can still use more space. And then the rest of that will get to be free. I have straps to hold the bed in place, so I can lift the bed up from either end and lower it from either end. And then I'll have 2 cupboards that open up this way, 2 cupboard doors. Stuff will be in here, stuff will be in there. And this is gonna have it's gonna come out a little bit further than this. And it'll have storage go right to the ceiling with some books at the top. The seat part will have the fridge and batteries underneath. And then it'll have an extra flip up part which will make the seat a little bit longer. So it'll be a short seat until you want it, and then you can flip it out, and now you've got a deeper seat. Kind of save space that way. Most of the kitchen stuff will be up here as far as dry food, because I eat more raw and fresh food. I don't cook a lot of stuff. I cook some stuff, but it's not a lot. So the fridge will be more important. This will actually be a little bit of condiments and some dishes. I've probably got way more room than I need, to be honest. All clothes will be in this side, and that'll be tons of room for clothes. And at some point I have an idea for a roof rack. So then I can, if I have a roof storage up there, that'll be winter clothes for winter, and then swap them when it's summer. That way I can get a bike underneath here and maybe a paddleboard, depending on how I want to use that. The other part about having this here part of the bed flip up into a sofa is that I can sit back here on the sofa, and right above here I'm going to have a pull down screen so I can run a projector that projects a movie up there instead of looking at my laptop. So to be able to watch a movie and have some entertainment, this will be the TV screen, sort of. Solar, yeah, at a certain point I'm looking at the Jackery or the Goal Zero. I'm kind of seeing what those options are. I came across a recent ad and I checked out a company online. They're called Bio something or other, and they make really small little emergency light systems with a 6-watt solar panel, and it has 3 lights on 18-foot cables each. That would be a really simple solution to put in here temporarily. It has its own little switch, and so I could easily run a light up here and a light back there, and I'll have these 2 underneath here running off a Jackery battery, so that if I ever needed that source for light, I could go with that. So I try not to buy anything that I wouldn't use. So it came with a rubber mat, and underneath it was insulated, but I'm not sure what kind of insulation it is for sure. So it came with that, so I left that down, and then I put plywood on top of that, and then I put this tongue and groove, or vinyl I guess it is. I was trying to work with different color schemes. I actually wanted a gray slate, but it kept feeling too cold in my mind, so I kind of went with this warmer look. I don't spend a lot of time in the van, which keeps me enjoying life more. I come back to the van when it's the end of the day, then I'd probably sit here in the chair and read a book.
We hope you enjoyed this video.
Please consider leaving a big thumbs up and sharing with your friends and subscribing to our channel. And we hope to see you guys soon again. See you next time.